Greetings, this is Sean, and today I'm going to be making a two-man saw, which is what you see here, and later on I'm going to make a colonial level, a level that they would have used back in the colonial times. And it's got a rather unique approach to it, which I hope you'll find enjoyable. Anyway, here I am taking a couple pieces of 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch dowel and square dowel, and I'm going to take this. It's a hacksaw blade with finer teeth than I wanted to, but I don't have any with coarser teeth than this, so I'm just going to use this. Normally two-man saws would have bigger teeth on them, but anyway, here I'm just marking the width of the blade on the which will be on this part, which will be the bottom of the saw handles. And now I'm going to do like I did last week with the using the drill and some files. I got some new files. These are diamond dust files, and just kind of shaping it down to a round shape, and then I'll put like little handles on them. And the files weren't really good at cutting a lot at once, sanding a lot, so I took this 80 grit sandpaper and I'm going a little bit faster with it. And this is a little bit stronger stock, so it's not going to break as easily as the last one did, the last project I made. And anyway, here you can see this is a half round, or it's kind of like a round. I'm taking a rat tail here, rat tail file, just to give a shape of a handle on the end of it. And this is some 220 grit sandpaper just to give it a finer finish on it. And as with most of the tools in this project, I am not going to be finishing the wood. It's just going to stay raw like it is. So there you can kind of see the shape of the file, or the handle I mean. And here I'm going to be doing the second one. And I had a problem with the head of my drill there. It's got several attachments that you can actually put on it, and it was starting to come loose, so I just need to tighten it up real quick. And here I am shaping the second one, of course. Here I am, I'm just trimming up some of the marks left by the drill, just to kind of clean it up and square it up a little bit better. And, please read this warning for the next section and for all of the tool work that I do. Make sure you're wearing a protective equipment, cut away from you and not towards you so you don't cut yourself. Don't hold items in your hands to be cut. And of course, do as I say, not as I do. Anyway, here I'm just taking a hacksaw and cutting down a slit, because that hacksaw blade is the same as the one that I'm using for the blade on the saw. So it's actually that blade that I'm using for the saw is an old one of those blades. So they're the same size. Anyway, so here I am just cutting a small groove into it. Again, please be careful, don't do what I'm doing. And no, I didn't cut myself, didn't come close either. But here I'm going to just super glue them in. I was going to put some like little rivets or nails through them, but I couldn't get my drills. I drilled several times, went through several drill bits trying to make some holes in the metal, and it just got to the point where I'm just going to super glue it. So I decided to super glue this and in place. I may go back later on and take some heads of nails or something like that and just glue it to the outside, but I didn't do that in this video. Anyway, so this is a little two-man saw, and it ends up being approximately 4 inches long, which would be about 4 feet long in real life, which is about the same right size. Anyway, here I am going to be making a level, and levels that we use are the glass bubbles with with the water in it with the bubble, and you set it to find out how level it is. Well, this is how they did it in colonial times before they did it that way. At least from the research that I've seen and the book that I'm using, this was what they did. What I've done is I've taken a bead wire and with a loop on the end of it, and I'm stringing 2 beads to make a bob, a plumb bob. And I'm just going to super glue those 2 beads to the wire. And that's a thick gel type super glue, or I'm sorry, CA glue. And I actually have already made one, and it's already dry or cured, and the glue is already set. So I'm going to pull that one out here in a minute after I finish this. And I'm just going to let that sit for a little while. I'm not going to use any of the accelerator because I want it to, have a nice clean finish. And the accelerator has that tendency to have that white cloudy stuff on it, and I didn't want that. So anyway, that's one that I've already made. And I'm just setting the other one into a piece of styrofoam so it can cure. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to cut the wire so that all we have is the bob itself. I'm just going to file the end of it so there's no sharp point on the end of it. And what I've done, the way this works is that's a base piece of basswood, and I've been soaking this other piece of real thin 32nd inch thin wood cut against the grain so that I can bend it. And when you bend it like that, make sure that I had one that was already done so that it would be dried. Anyway, you want to make it to where it's nice and even on both sides. Here I am just sanding the edges of it so that it'll sit flat on the base piece of wood there. And of course I'm going to just super glue it down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center spot of that, and it's 1 3/4 inches long. And so I was going through my mind here, 1 3/4 inches is the same as 7/4, which is the same as 14/8, and half of 14 is 7, so half of 1 3/4 inches is 7/8, and that's how I figured out what the center was for that. Anyway, I could have used a calculator, but I didn't want to. Anyway, so I'm using this line on that grid line there on my mat to find the center spot on the top part. So what I will do is drill a hole through that line there on the top of the curve. I got to get a pin vise with a real small hole, or a small drill bit. And I'm just going to drill a small hole in there, and I'm going to take a piece of string it's going to sit just like that on there. And I will take a piece of string, and some of you may recognize what this next device is. This is a bobbin for tying flies, for fly tying. That's what they use for. I happen to do that as well. And then that is a threader for that bobbin, and it's really nice. It's got a real thin wire, and it's got a bead that's on there right now that I'm going to pull through. And you just put the string through the big triangle or diamond there and pull it through, but I didn't hold on to it properly, and the whole string fell through. So what I end up doing here instead is I'm going to put the loop of string through the loop on the bob, and then I'll pull the string around over the bob so that it, kind of hooks onto the hoop at the top of the bob, so that it's nice and secure and won't fall off this time. Anyway, put that through, and here I'll show you a different angle. See, the string goes through that triangle or diamond there, and I can just pull it right on through, just like a needle threader is basically what it is, a big needle threader. Then I pulled it through the bead that was on there, and I'm just going to super glue that down so that it'll stay in place. And that's it. That's how you make a level. And when it sits level, here you'll see in a minute, the bob will line up with the line that's down on the base of it. And if it's off, then it won't be lined up directly with that line. So, as you can see, when it tilts, the bob stays level, and that's how they made a level back in the day. Anyway, these are just two real quick, short tools that I'm making, and I'm still planning stages for the next big tool that I'm going to be making, which will probably be next weekend, so stick around for that. And thanks for watching. Let me know what you think, and as always, have a better day, as I always say.